Hello and welcome to my craft room in my 1902 farmhouse. My name is Alicia with Country Mama Musings, and after a little bit of a hiatus due to a respiratory issue, I do have to apologize. My asthma has just been playing havoc with me ever since the fires have broken out in Canada. I've been having a lot of difficulty breathing, so I've taken a couple of weeks off, allowed myself to heal a little bit. You can still hear it a little bit in my lungs, so hopefully that won't be too much of a deterrent. But we're back today and we're going to be working on this beautiful block for our Heirloom Afghan crochet along. This is block 56, the Snapdragon stitch. So grab your supplies and let's get started. So for block 56, the Snapdragon stitch, we're going to be using our size H crochet hook and whatever color you've determined to be color A for your Afghan. Mine is white. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a simple slip knot. Oops, not a long enough tail there. Make sure you leave yourself a nice long tail. We'll sew that in later. It's better to have too much than not enough. And we're going to loosely chain 29. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 27, 28, and 29. Let's move on to row 1. For row 1, we're going to double crochet in the 5th chain from the hook. So not counting the loop that's on our hook, count down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to place a double crochet in that chain right there. And then we're going to skip the next 3 chains. So skip 1, skip 2, skip 3, and right here in the one after that, we're going to place 5 double crochet. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I've had a viewer comment and ask for a little direction on what to do when you place so many stitches in one chain. It's hard to find your next stitch. It's okay to push that over a little bit, find out where that stitch was, and you're able to find this. It does crowd in a little bit, but push that over, you should be able to find your very next chain right here, or if you're working in a row, your very next stitch. We're going to skip the next 3 chains, so skip 1, skip 2, skip 3. In our next chain right here, we're going to place a double crochet, and then we're going to chain 1 and place another double crochet right there in that same chain that we're working in, and this will create a V stitch. We're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go right back into placing 5 double crochet in the chain after that, so the 4th chain over. After you skip 3, the very next one, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 5. Now just like before, we're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to place a V stitch right here in this very next chain here, and that V stitch again is a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet right back there in that same chain. We're skipping 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to place 5 double crochet in the very next chain. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and right here in our very last chain, we're going to place another V-stitch. So a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. So let's remove our hook and take a look here at row 1 for block 56, the Snapdragon stitch. This looks very familiar. It looks familiar to a lot of the other blocks that we've done in the past. We're starting here with this skip. When we skipped all of these chains here and did a double crochet, that created a V-stitch on the end here. We've got a V-stitch on the end here. We have a series of shells and V-stitches across. So 3 shells and 1, 2, 3, 4 V-stitches for row 1. Let's continue on to row 2. For row 2, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and this counts as the first double crochet of our next row. We're going to turn our work, and we're going to place 2 double crochet in the first chain 1 space. So right here in this space in our V, we're going to place 2 double crochet. Here's 1 and 2. Okay, we're going to skip the next 3 double crochet. So this is our next double crochet here. So here's 1, skip this double crochet, skip this double crochet, and we're going to do a V-stitch in the top of the next double crochet right here. So if you look at the top of your work, we're actually skipping these next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. We're going to place a V-stitch in the top of the 4th one. So here's a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. And that's in the top of that shell from the prior row. We're going to place 5 double crochet in the next chain 1 space. So we're really just skipping 1, 2, 3 of these double crochet. We're going over here to this V-stitch, and we're going to work in this chain 1 space right here. We're going to work a shell by placing 5 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it really does take up all of that real estate in that chain 1 space there. We're going to skip the next 3 double crochet, so don't forget to skip this one. Now if you turn your work over, this is where the top of this stitch here is hard to see. If you move this over a little bit, you can kind of see right there. 1, 2, 3. We're skipping 1, 2, 3. Going right here, we're going to place a V-stitch in the top of that shell. So there's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Moving along, we're going to find our next V-stitch, and we're going to place 5 double crochet in that chain 1 space of that V-stitch. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and squeeze that last one in there. There's 5. We're going to go over to this shell, and we're going to work that V-stitch in the middle of the shell. Skip the first double crochet, 2, 3. Right here in the very top of that 4th stitch, we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. So we're repeating that pattern all the way across, and that is a beautiful little square that we're starting. We're here at the end though, and what are we going to do here at the end? We're here to the end of row 2, and because we want symmetry, according to our pattern, we've been putting 5 double crochet in our V-stitches. Well, here at the beginning of this row, we have our chain that counted as a double crochet, and then 2 double crochet in that chain space. We want symmetry, so we're going to place 3 double crochet, not 5, in this last V stitch. Just 3. So here's 1, 2, and 3. Let's take our hook out and take a look here at row 2. So again, we're looking for symmetry. We've got 3 double crochet. Remember, our chain up counted as a double crochet. So we have 3 double crochet here and 3 double crochet here. We have V stitches in between our shells. So at this time, instead of 3 shells, we have 2 shells, and we have 3 V stitches and 2 half shells at the end. Let's move on to row 3. Hey, are you enjoying putting together all of the beautiful heirloom sampler blocks for our heirloom Afghan crochet along? If so, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, check out the playlist that has all of the videos for every block for our crochet along, and be sure to share the video with your friends that like to crochet. Okay, let's get back to our project for this week. For row 3, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to turn our work. Now this chain 4 counts as a double crochet plus a chain 1 because we're going to be putting a V stitch here. So the chain 3 counts as a double crochet, then we have the chain in between. Then we're going to go right back into this very first stitch. We're not going to go to the next one over, right here. And we're going to place a double crochet, and that completes our V stitch right here at the end. We're going to 5 double crochet in the next chain 1 space of our next V stitch. So we have a V stitch here. Now we're going to make a shell. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and remember it's going to get tight in here. We've got a lot of stitches going into a small amount of real estate. There's 5. We're going to count over 3 stitches. This is our first double crochet, and again, if you need to move that shell over a little bit to see where the top of that stitch is, you can. 1, 2, 3. We're skipping those. Going here to the center of our next little shell, and we're going to place a V stitch, which is the double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. Going to our next V stitch all the way over here, placing 5 double crochet to create our next shell. 2, 3, 4. Oh, I need more yarn. And 5 in that tight little space there. Skip 1, skip 2, skip 3, placing a V stitch right here in the center of our shell. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. All the way over here to our next V stitch, 5 shells. 1, 2, 3, 4, running out of a little bit of room there. Move that over there if you need to. There's 5. We have these 3 double crochet here at the end, which was part of a chain up. This is our chain up right here. We're going to go to the very top of this chain up that counts as our first double crochet. So we're skipping 1, skipping 2, skipping 3. This counts as our double crochet. It's not going to have a real defined place to put your hook, but we're going to go ahead and do a V-stitch. Do your best to try to get 2 strands of yarn over your hook from that stitch there. Just gives it a little bit more stability. So there's our double crochet, chain 1, and our double crochet, and this will complete. Oops, I'm bringing over a little bit of yarn from another project. Let's take our hook out, and take a look at what we've got going here. Again, it's another repeat of just our V stitches and our shells across to create what is called, they're calling the Snapdragon stitch. It looks an awful lot like a lot of the other stitches we've already done for other blocks. We're going to continue on repeating rows 2 and 3 until our block is approximately 7 inches square. I'm going to go ahead and work a few more rows till I'm about where the halfway point is, and I'm going to come back in and check with you and see how we're doing. Placing a V stitch here at the end of this row, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Goodness, it's fighting me. There we go. I'm going to take my hook out. We're about halfway through with our block here, so I'm going to stop. We're going to take a look and see how things are doing. And you can see we've just repeated rows 2 and 3. We have nice even edges here. If you find that your block is starting to veer out, you might have some extra sets of stitches. Go back until you find out where you have the correct count and take everything out and start from that point again. Also, the same applies if you're starting to come in on your block. If you're starting to turn into a triangle, you may have missed something. Always with your rows, you're going to double check. One row is always going to have 3 shells. The next row will always have 2 shells, 3 shells. So make sure that your counts are right so that you don't get a funny looking block. It should be nice and straight along the bottom and the sides. We're a little bit more than halfway. I'm going to continue in my block until it's about 7 inches square, and I'll meet up with you there. We're coming up here on the end of what I believe is going to be my final row. I've just finished this last shell. We're going to go ahead and place a V stitch right here at the end, and then let's check our work once I get this last V stitch done. There we go. Let me remove my hook. And once again, we have a repeat of rows 2 and 3. We have a nice uniform looking block here. I'm going to check to make sure that we're at about 7 inches. Look at that. Very, very close to 7 inches. Let's see how things look if we do our little diagonal test. If I take my corner down to this corner on a diagonal, look at that. It makes a perfect triangle, so we know that we're square. Okay, so what we've done is we've repeated that rows 2 and 3. Let's check this out. 1, 2, 3. So here's 2, 3. That's 1 repeat. 2, 3. 2 repeats. 2, 3. 3 repeats. 2, 3. 4 repeats. So I repeated row 2 and 3 approximately 4 times. It may take you another row. It all depends on your tension. Just double check to make sure that you're square. And remember, if you're a little short, it's okay because this is going to have a little bit of a stretch and give. Okay, so it's better to be just on the tiny bit side small and give it that little bit of stretch than have it be way too big and then it's going to bunch up when you put your Afghan together. So what you need to do now is you're going to complete round 1 and round 2 of your edging. Since this is in color A, this is going to be the color I'm going to be putting all of my Afghan together with. So I'm going to do round 1 of edging in the same color. I'm not going to cut, and then I'm going to complete round 2 with the same color because this is the color that I'll be using to put my Afghan together. Now once you get all of your edging on, the only thing left to do is to get yourself a tag and write on here block 56, the Snapdragon stitch. Well, that's all for today, friends. Thank you so much for joining me, and I apologize for the hiatus as I dealt with my respiratory issues, but I'm glad to be back with you. Join us next week for block 57, the alternate mesh stitch. Until I see you then, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.